And welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Forecast. Happy Monday to everyone, and hope all the mothers out there had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. Now, today, more sunshine, more heat for us across northern Michigan. Some may be grabbing the sticks and heading out to the links, playing some golf. Meteorologist Haley Fischetti is going to break down the best conditions that you would like to see for golf. Maybe not you yourself, but what conditions have to be perfect for weather-wise for you to see the best performance out of your golf ball and your golf clubs and just everything in general, how weather impacts your golf game and what conditions you ideally want to see. So she will have that, and then coming up after that, we'll have meteorologist John Gross. He will be explaining frozen pipes. Yes, something we don't have to worry about right now, but this is wonderful information to store in the back of your mind for those colder conditions when we see them. So meteorologist John Gross will go into how that happens, but also the preventative measures to make sure your pipes don't freeze or burst. And then we send it back to last week's live streaming podcast where Haley Fischetti and I talked about Tornado Alley. We'll give you a little bit of a segment of that coming up at the end of the show. But first, before we jump into the main portions of our show, let's start it off with some fun facts. And first off, weather history. So this day in weather history, May 12th, 1972, a downburst, just basically a cloud got rid of all of its moisture, dumped 16 inches of rain north of New Braunfels, Texas, sending a 30-foot wall of water down Bluders Creek into the Como and Guadalupe rivers. 30-foot wall of water down those rivers. This resulted in flash flooding, taking 18 lives and causing $20 million of damage to houses and automobiles. 16 inches of rain in a matter of minutes, hours. I didn't see that on there, but I'd have to assume it wasn't more than an hour. But a downburst can be detrimental. It essentially takes all the moisture in the cloud, and when it gets too heavy to hold, it just, boom, gets rid of all of its moisture and can dump upwards of 10, 15, 20 inches of rain in a matter of minutes and even close to an hour. So that happened on this day back in 1972. That's what flash flood warnings are so important for, but that is also why you have to pay attention to the forecast and the weather that's on the way. Yes, we can't forecast downbursts, but we can look to see just how juicy that air is to create conditions like that favorable for downbursts. All right, trivia time. Friday, we asked you, what terrain is most likely to be a source of lift for thunderstorm development? Is it the Rocky Mountains, East Coast, Great Plains, or Corn Belt? Well, it's Rocky Mountains. And the reason why is because you have that cooler air coming off the mountains right down, and that will help give a nice lift to the conditions in the Great Plains. That's why the Great Plains tend to see those storms, but it's the Rocky Mountains that supply the lift for those thunderstorms. So there you go. Today, we want to know, where is the safest place to be during a tornado? Is it outside, basement, hallway, or bathroom? QR code right there. Hit it. That will take you to where you can put your answer in. Is it outside, basement, hallway, bathroom? I'm just going to give you a hint. Outside's not the right answer. Don't pick outside. If you're outside during a tornado, run inside. So those three choices. It's not outside. Viewer photo of the day. Let's get to that, shall we? This was always brought to you by Great Rooms. Thank you, Great Rooms, for bringing us viewer photo of the day. But today's picture comes to us from Lori Kendall. Lori sent us this beautiful picture titled "A Beautiful Ending to a Rainy Day in Mecosta County." Just absolutely gorgeous. You can still see those low-level clouds, but at the same time, you can start to see the little bit of sun. Absolutely beautiful picture. Thank you so much, Lori, for sending in this picture. And yes, the sun, or the clouds cleared, and we ended up seeing a bunch of sunshine. So Great Rooms also, thank you for sponsoring viewer photo of the day. All right. I know I'm getting ready. I haven't been out yet, but it is a stellar day today. So maybe after this, you say, I need to go hit the links. Well, make sure you stay for meteorologist Haley Fischetti's segment on the best conditions to get out golfing. Because, to be honest with you, it might not be what you think are the best conditions for golf. We'll have more details on that coming up right after the break.
Welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. It's meteorologist Haley Fischetti, and today we're going to be talking about the perfect golfing weather. I get a lot of Facebook messages and even friends asking, when can I go golfing as we reach spring months with warmer temperatures and brighter skies? But sometimes the weather isn't the best conditions to go golfing, even if it looks like it is. So did some research, and I'll tell you when the perfect day for golfing really is. So sunny days, normally you think it's a really nice day out there, but actually consecutive days of bright sunny skies can actually hurt the grass, causing less friction as you're golfing. So you kind of want some moisture in between your golfing as we continue into the spring months. So you really want that rain. Sunny days also affecting the growth of the grass, which can also lead to speed changes when it comes to your golf ball. Light rain is actually a good thing. If you can maybe golf in a drizzle, that's going to be your best bet to get some really nice friction on your golf ball, looking at some smoother drives as you continue throughout the course, and that can also help your ball stay on the greens more often. However, heavy rains, that is not the answer. It is not good for golf courses at all. As you can see, ponding or pooling by the holes could even cancel some golf tournaments you might have in the next couple of weeks as we watch for more severe weather and some heavy rainfall to develop. So something you want to watch for. While light rain is good, heavy rain you might want to stay away from, as it's just hurting the golf course as we continue into the summer months. Now, some other information you might want to have. Now, the difference between warm air and cold air. Warm air, as you are golfing, actually helps with resistance of the ball. It makes your drives go a little bit further as there's less resistance in the air. As cold air is pretty dense, if you were to golf in colder temperatures, it actually shows resistance on your ball, meaning you're not going to go as far down the drive or down the green as you hope. So warmer temperatures actually help you, which is good as we continue to see warmer temperatures into the next couple of weeks. Winds, of course, also playing a pretty big part across your golfing, as a lot of us look at breezy winds as not so great, kind of directing which way your ball is going to go, and then the difference between timing of day. The morning time is actually the best time to probably go golfing compared to the afternoon. In the early morning hours, you have pretty light winds. As you increase into the afternoon, winds start to head further down to the surface level as the jet stream moves around the surface. And that's why you see breezy winds across the region, which could impact your play. So really the best time for golfing is when it's a partly cloudy day, as that sun's not going to affect the dry grass. When it's warm outside, so mild to above average temperatures, lighter winds, so mainly in the morning. That's your best time as we continue throughout the golfing season. Of course, the Doppler 910 weather team will have all the details as we give you more forecasts in the coming weeks.
Thanks, Haley. Great information for those golfers who need it. Now, coming up next, we're going to have meteorologist John Gross talking about a topic that's not so important here this spring, but important for you to keep in the back of your mind for winter. We'll have those details right after the break.
Hey there, everybody. Meteorologist John Gross, and today we are going to be talking about how you can prevent your pipes in your home from freezing and or bursting. And we'll go over a few preventative tips if you're going to be away from the house for a longer period of time, or just some things that you can do, especially during the winter months. Speaking of, that's usually the setup we're talking about. You need cold temperatures in order to get things frozen, so that's what you're talking about, especially on the exterior. Temperatures usually near 20 degrees or colder, so you could be talking about teens, single digits, in some instances, temperatures well below freezing. So now we have the very cold air outside. Let's talk about the pipes and going inside the house. So that colder air can cause the pipes, especially near the exterior walls, to freeze and therefore start to burst if the pipe becomes weak enough. So when you're seeing that water going from the liquid to the solid, as it freezes, the water starts to expand. You can think of this as the same way as a pothole. If you've got water pooled in the roadway and you get much colder temperatures, that water starts to freeze, it can start to expand, and as traffic drives over the road, it weakens it, eventually removing whatever asphalt or concrete was there. Then you have your pothole. Same philosophy here. You get the colder air, you get the water freezing, expanding in your pipe. the pipe becomes weak, and then eventually it starts to burst, and now you're talking about water concerns. You're talking about flooding concerns wherever you might live. That could be your house, your apartment, and this is what we want to try to avoid. So let's go ahead and talk about some things to consider. Again, the outdoor temperature, if you're talking about a prolonged period of time where you're talking about very, very cold temperatures, that's something to consider. The direct exposure to the cold, are you talking about pipes that are closer to the exterior wall versus the interior, and how much heat is able to get to those pipes? How well insulated are your pipes? Do you have any pipe sleeves potentially? That's going to be the one thing we'll talk about here, or especially our next preventative tip, adding insulation to any cold-prone areas, especially, again, a pipe sleeve. That little bit of insulation can be the difference between whether you're talking about a burst pipe or not bursting a pipe. So any more heat that you can get to these pipes to keep the water flowing, to keep the water above 32 degrees, that can go a long way when you're talking about the chance for your pipes potentially to burst or even have water damage from any leaking you could get from those pipes. Let's talk about if you're going away, maybe trying to get away from the much colder air that's coming in, especially during the winter season. You're going away for the weekend. You're going on a long cruise in a much warmer climate, and maybe you want to try and save a little bit on the electric bill. Not the best idea. You still do want to keep the heat on wherever you might live, whether that's in the house or the apartment. Case in point, you want to keep that temperature at least at around 55 degrees, so the at least temperature in the interior part of your home stays warm enough to where you're not having to worry about your pipes potentially freezing. Another thing that you can do is open any cabinet doors, whether that be in your bathroom, whether that be in your kitchen. That's usually when you're talking about those pipes potentially getting cold enough to freeze, expand, and burst. If you can get a little bit more heat to that direct pipe, that also can be a big difference between whether you're talking about a burst pipe or not. Another thing that you can talk about is running a faucet. You can have it drip cold water, so you're allowing that flow of water through your pipes. It might not be a large flow, but it's enough to where you're having a constant flow of water so that water isn't able to sit and potentially freeze. So that's another good preventative tip that you can do if you're talking about a very cold, prolonged period of time coming up in the forecast. Outside, let's talk about spigots or hoses that you might have. Again, giving a little bit more insulation to that spigot. If you have a hose, you want to remove it, you want to drain it, and you want to store it away in a warmer place. That way your hose doesn't become a little bit weak, because if there's any water within the hose, that can also freeze, that can also expand, and if you have your hose weak enough, then you can start to get holes in your hose. So making sure that, again, you're storing away any hoses. If you have a spigot outside, covering that up and exposing that, or not exposing it, I should say, to the least amount of cold air. You want to give it as many layers as you can so you're not seeing any cracks in any spigots or hoses that you may have. So in summary, here's a look at our checklist with your frozen pipes and preventing any frozen pipes in your home. Removing or draining any hoses, like we just did mention. You want to consider insulating any materials for any exposed pipes. You want to allow any cold water to drip from your pipes if you're talking about those very cold temperatures. Opening your kitchen or bathroom cabinets, that also can help to get a little bit more heat to your pipes. Last but not least, if you're going away for a weekend or a long period of time, you don't want to turn the heat off completely. You still do want to keep it on, and you want to keep that at least 55 degrees or warmer. And these can be some good tips for maybe next winter season to keep your pipes from potentially freezing and or bursting. I'm meteorologist John Gross reporting for Beyond the Forecast.
Thanks, John. Great information packed in there. Now, coming up next, we take a look back at our podcast from last week talking about Tornado Alley. Meteorologist Haley Fischetti will break that down for you coming up after the break. And welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Forecast. Now, last week, our live streaming podcast, which we have every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on the Beyond the Forecast Facebook page, the 910 News YouTube channel, as well as shared all over other Facebook platforms. we sit down and we discuss a topic that you choose on free weeks like this week. Or if we have a specific topic that we're talking about throughout the week, we'll talk about that. But last week, we asked you, what did you want to talk about? You voted on Tornado Alley. So meteorologist Haley Fischetti and I discussed with you Tornado Alley. Here's a segment from it.
So well, and you can see it. I mean, in this day and age, because of social media, it's almost like this is the research. It's not even like math or science behind it. It is really just what we're seeing. It's almost a social science kind of how the Tornado Alley is moving.
Right. And I mean, that's really, when you look at the ingredients, you have to have wind shear, you have to have moisture, you have to have warm air, cold air, you have to have peak heating.
And you have to have instability.
And so like when you're going across, so think of a storm, and if a storm is coming out of the Rockies, it's going to hit the plains first and then into the eastern, but it's running out of time as it moves east, right?
Yes.
It's going against time.
Yep.
So you'll see those storms fire for the most part, usually in the central plains, maybe the Mississippi River, and then they're falling apart as they're getting into the east because they're running against daylight.
Yep.
So they're running out of peak heating, they're running out of that fuel. So yes, Tornado Alley seemed like it's always better in the central plains because they're central time zone, they have the better setup. Anything moving through there can move, but then die as it moves east.
Yes.
Nowadays, you're seeing warmer temperatures overall. You're seeing the expansion of warmer air. You're seeing the colder air still running into us as normal.
Our overtime lows aren't overnight lowing.
No. And that's where a lot of people might think, well, northern Michigan, it's not going to matter because we always get down into the 40s and 50s at night.
Right.
If that was still the normal. The normal now is...
we woke up to, I came into work and it was 50 degrees outside still here in Cadillac.
Right. And that's not the norm.
Right. Like it's, for the past couple of years, our overnight lows, especially here in Michigan.
And that's attributed to the lake.
Yes. Has been staying pretty way above average, I would say.
So with that happening, now the question is in the science realm is, does that open us up for more severe activity, whether it's at night?
My biggest fear, my biggest weather fear.
Tornado at night?
Tornado at night.
I mean, nowadays it's a little rough.
Yeah.
I would say back in the day, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, now.
And that's why I fell asleep with the Weather Channel on every night.
Yeah, you'd have. That's when you're not mad at Michael for cutting into the Michigan State basketball game. You're down for it. But yeah, that's
But no, I mean, like that was always a concern growing up. Now this thing, as soon as you get a warning, goes off louder than anything.
Remember when Tom O'Hare's voice used to wake you up in the old weather app?
Oh, I turned it off instantly. Nothing against you, Tom. But I was like, nope.
That scared me. My first week here, lightning ahead. I was like,
yeah, who's in my house?
Me, Tom?
I muted that up real quick. And being in the broadcast industry, I've muted my everything. This is on Do Not
I would say I'm afraid, but I also guess I'm the one who's the most equipped in of my friend groups to know what's happening.
I mean, well, that's the thing is like if we know something's happening, but the problem is like, think about it. That is a very real fear.
Yeah.
And what did Twister do? Twister played into that very real fear.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does happen, but it does not happen nearly as much as you think.
It doesn't. And severe weather outbreaks at night do die very fast because, yes, it is warmer overnight, but it is not warm enough to keep them steady.
So yeah, there you go. Pretty fun. And tomorrow we will have a new podcast for you, live streaming at 10 a.m. on the Beyond the Forecast Facebook page, the 910 News YouTube channel, my professional Facebook page, Haley's professional Facebook page, the 910 News Facebook page, and you can join us. Jump into the comments. Give us your thoughts on the topic for the week. And if you head to Beyond the Forecast Facebook page right now, you can vote on that topic. Which topic do you want to talk about this week? So you go. And if you want to catch the podcasts that we've already shot, you can go back to 910 News YouTube channel and check them all out, or you can also head to wherever you take in your podcasts. They will be there eventually, I promise. So that does it for Beyond the Forecast today. Now, it is absolutely gorgeous outside, so if you can, take the TV with you to catch 910 News at 5, but just get outside, enjoy it. It's so nice out there right now. For meteorologist John Gross, meteorologist Haley Fischetti, I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens. Thank you for joining us here on this absolutely beautiful Monday. We'll be right back here tomorrow at 4:30 for more Beyond the Forecast. Be good, stay safe, take care. We'll see you guys tomorrow.